IHGN Studios, it's Braves Beat.
Hello Braves, welcome to our very first virtual episode of Braves Beat this season. I'm Dylan Condor.
And I'm Isaac Fiore. So, Dylan, how have you been taking to our new Plan C schedule?
I haven't stopped wearing pajamas.
Neither have I. I'm so tired.
I'm so tired.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, as you all know, we are now in Plan C and learning from home. David Kolodenko had a chance to interview Mr. Damadeo about this important decision. David?
Hey Braves, I'm here with Mr. Damadeo to discuss this decision to go to Plan C for the rest of the year. Thanks for joining me today.
You're very welcome.
So, first I'd like to ask, how was the decision to go to Plan C made?
Yeah, so as you guys know, every 2 weeks in the beginning, and then every week based on various data points, the district has looked at it and kind of determined which is the best plan, course of action for our kids, keeping safety in the forefront of everybody's mind as the number one priority each and every week. As some observe things like the Hamilton County color coding system, I can tell you that our district looks at a variety of different data points, well beyond that, not just holistic in the sense of state, but also a lot of what's happening here in the local area, whether that's Southwest Ohio, Hamilton County, local zip codes, different demographics in terms of disease spread, transmission, mitigation, things like that. And as you guys know, at the end of the day, our ideal plan is for you to all be here at school. That's why we love what we do, is because of all of you. So the decision to eventually kind of get to Plan C really was kind of due to all those factors, just a continuous analysis of what is happening around us, both locally and nationally, and then trying to always make the best decision to keep the safety of our students and staff in mind. And so just based on all of the data points that they take a look at, it was decided that from this point on, and you guys receive letters based on things like the amount of folks that are quarantined, even here locally, both students, cases internally, whether that's staff or students, of really what would be the best case scenario to ensure that two things happen. Number one, that all of the students and staff are as safe as possible. And number two, to help and create the conditions to ensure that the world-class education that we want to provide and that you all deserve, we can still execute to the greatest extent. And looking through all of that, and it's a lot, we eventually made the decision that Plan C would be the best course of action in the very near future.
All right. So, with the experience the administration has gotten from things like Brave Virtual Academy, what changes have you made to online learning since last year?
Yeah, well, my hope is that today, on your very first day of remote learning, all of you realize that it's not the spring. Last spring, when we all kind of had to switch to a remote scenario because of an emergency, in terms of trying to just figure out how does school operate, we knew about COVID-19. We knew about the possibilities of it from a negative perspective, and also because of state order, everything was shut down. And so all of us were kind of learning as we go. We learned a lot of what was working well and what was not working well. And so much of that actually came from you guys and all the feedback that you gave us regarding really the looseness of it, which sometimes is great, but also has its drawbacks. So we took a lot of what we learned from Plan C last year. We also we did a lot of professional development and learning this year. Any opportunity we had, whether it was the 2 days before Thanksgiving, whether it was internal lunch and learn, staff meetings, book studies, and any opportunity that we could to really fill our toolbox with the most effective online educational tools and pedagogy possible to try to create, again, a world-class education in a model that none of us have really ever ventured too far down into. So we also learned a little bit from what Braves Virtual Academy is, and also knowing what it's not, and then trying to kind of put all of that together. And today was just day one. So my hope is that there was a lot of positive things to talk about, but we also know that every single day we're going to get better, we're going to learn, we're going to improve. And so much of that actually goes to you guys to continuously give us feedback. This is working well. This is not working well. I wish it was more organized, or the schedule is such where I kind of like that, but maybe there's too much time. We also need your feedback as well.
All right. So how did the administration come up with the current schedule that's being used?
Yeah, so one of the things we wanted to do was, there's a lot of factors anytime you look at a schedule. One of the things from the high school that we have to look at when we build a schedule is also keeping in mind several things. One, we have traveling teachers. So we have teachers here that also teach in the middle school and in the elementary school. So we had to devise a schedule that really did two things. Kind of mimicked what you've all been into, because this is kind of a rhythm that you've had through the course of the year of kind of modified blocks. But also ensuring that what we decided and designed, the middle school designed with us, so that our high school teachers like Mr. Clark and Mr. Grice, Mr. Clary, Miss Emmons, they could still service our middle school students the best that they can, but also be here for our high school students. And one of the things we didn't want to lose is we didn't want to lose opportunities during the day for two things to happen. One, for you to reach out to your teachers and saying, hey, I still need some extra time. I still need some extra attention. Can we connect during flex? Well, how do you do flex in a remote setting? You have to be intentional with the time and create a window of time for teachers and you all to reach out and say, hey, can we meet at 2:05 during that asynchronous time? Because I have other questions. The other part of that is we didn't want you guys to be sitting in front of a computer 7 times a day over and over and over again. So research will show you that there's kind of a sweet spot in terms of the number of hours of kind of direct instruction over a computer that's effective for an adolescent brain, and that's not 7 hours. So what you guys found today is keeping it as kind of a block schedule allows you guys to see the teacher, do a lesson, do some learning, then kind of pull away, do some independent work, giving you a little bit of freedom. You get to talk to your peers and collaborate with them. You can get up and move around. You can go to the kitchen and get a drink, and then you come back. And so it's structured, but it's still a little bit loose so that you're not just sitting here for 7 hours. And we also didn't want to do this. We didn't want 7 bells a day, where then now you're synchronous for 7 bells, but then you have 7 bells worth of homework every single night. So we didn't want that. So that's kind of where we came up with that schedule. And that Friday day, which is coming, will feel a little bit like Wednesday in Plan B. But then again, now because we're so far into the semester, that what happens during that time will feel still for you guys. So often you're looking for kind of like, what is meaningful, or why are we meeting? And now we can be more intentional with that time to maximize that time with you guys. Because we want not only our staff to feel like they're getting things done, we want to make sure that you guys also feel like, I don't want to miss this time. I miss my teachers, I miss my peers. I don't want to fall behind, because we know that's important to all of us.
Thanks again to Mr. Damadeo for agreeing to talk with us today. Back to you.
Speaking of interviews, our students continue to make national headlines for their service to others. NBC Nightly News featured IHHS senior Vandita Rastogi after she volunteered at the polls in November. Vandita shared about her experiences with us as well. Let's take a look.
Hey Braves, I'm here with Vandita Rastogi. So, tell us about your experiences on volunteering at the polls.
Yeah, so when I was working the polls, we had to set up everything the night before, and then on election day, I got a chance to talk with my community as well as the protesters that were outside our precinct location. And I was able to understand what sort of issues the voters were looking at that influenced their voting decisions. And also, as a 17-year-old, I obviously was not allowed to vote, but I did think it was pretty interesting that I was able to check all the voters for their IDs and give them their ballots, and also make sure that they scanned their ballots correctly so that the votes were counted. And, you know, it gave me power that I think minors didn't have, just, you know, because I am 17 and wasn't able to actually directly participate in our democracy. But other than that, I think it was just very cool and interesting to see such an important process that we have in our government play out, you know, and take a part in it indirectly.
So, how did NBC contact you? You know, what was it like to be on the national news?
Yeah, okay, so actually the Hamilton County Board of Elections was contacted by NBC because they were looking to do a story on young poll workers in swing states, namely Ohio and Pennsylvania. And After that, the Hamilton County Board of Elections gave my name to NBC, and I was contacted directly by one of their interviewers. And on the Thursday before the elections were held, another girl from Pennsylvania, who's also a senior, and I were interviewed through Zoom. And I thought it was just very interesting that they were just allowing us to talk about our passions for being involved in the democracy at such a young age. And I'm excited that they wanted to hear our voices and they were genuinely interested in what we wanted to say.
Now let's get up to date on some sports news. Congratulations go out to Michael Kaczmarowski on being recognized with OSSCA All-State Honors and Bridget Schumacher for being selected to the All-Ohio Field Hockey Team. Also, a huge shout out to Luke Hammond, Charlie DeGennaro, Doug Zhang, Ty Thornton, and Will Kleekamp for being selected for the 2020 Division IV All-Ohio football teams. Luke made first-team offense, Charlie and Doug made second-team defense, and Ty made third-team offense, and Will made third-team defense. Great job, everyone.
Sports activities have been widely canceled all across Cincinnati, and many players are prepared for possibly returning in January. For more information, let's toss it over to our sport interviewers for more information.
All right, today I'm here with professional Clash Royale player and varsity captain of the wrestling team, Harris Foad. How are you doing today?
Doing good, Garrett. Thanks for having me.
So how are you staying prepared and in shape for the season?
Well, I'm working out every day. Some of the guys are getting together, not in big groups, just like one or two people getting together to work out. And just doing a lot of cardio, lifting weights, just trying to stay in shape.
When faced with the lack of a season, are you still trying to compete out of school?
I've thought about it. It just depends when the competitions are.
What are your expectations for your season?
Well, as a team, since the league tournament got canceled this year, it's in duels this year. So we're doing like a league dual tournament. I hope for our team, I think that we have a shot of winning it again. It'll be the fourth year in a row that we win it.
Anything else you want to say?
These are tough times. You just got to keep pushing through. I mean, I'm doing everything I can to keep competing, stay on the mat, stay active. I know it's tough. Keep trying to look to the next thing. There's always going to be a next thing to look forward to. So don't let the bad times get to you.
For sure. This was Harris Foad, captain of the varsity wrestling team. Have a great day. Hey Braves, today I'm here with our athletic director, Brian Phelps, and he's in charge of everything. And I guess we'll just start it off with, what are your expectations for the coaches and athletes now that we're in Plan C and now that everything's been paused?
Well, we got some good news last night. The board met and approved a modified return to practice starting technically on Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 12th. So our teams will be back at it. For the most part, our middle school and high school teams will be able to practice on Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays for an hour and a half with some limitations, but those things are being communicated to coaches now to get out to their team. So I'm really excited for our kids to be able to get back in the gym or the pool or the wrestling room to continue to stay fit and be ready for competition.
For fans and parents, if we do go back into games, how will that look like? Will we be in person or online if we want to watch?
Yeah, so great question. You know, the governor comes out with kind of new suggestions that goes through the OHSAA. Right now it is suggested that it's parents only or close family members. We'll see where we are in a few weeks. January 7th, the board meets next to determine kind of the direction that we go with competition. However, we have invested in huddle focus cameras in both our middle school gym and high school gym, so we can live stream, record all of our events to make those events as accessible as possible.
Do the guidelines vary by sport? I know that wrestling sometimes has like different issues than basketball per se. So like any information on that?
Yeah, sure. So from a practice standpoint, it's the length that we can practice, how many student athletes can be together for wrestling, for example, after talking to Nate Iger this morning, our varsity coach, breaking those practice times so there's less kids on the mats having pods of either 2 or 3 only practicing together, and not rotating mats, kind of being on one mat for the duration of a practice. So sure, every practice has its own nuances and limitations, and kind of back to your earlier question, that's one of the things that I'm talking with our coaches right now, so we're all on the same page to understand those guidelines and limitations.
Sounds good. Anything else you'd like to tell our student athletes and student body in general?
Well, personally, I love being a Brave, and I love trying to help figure this out to make our experience together the best that it can be, and just know that that's exactly what we're doing. And I'm optimistic that we're going to have some type of a season, and it's just a little bit of a wait and see game right now.
For sure. Behind the scenes, Mr. Phelps is always working hard to make sure we can play sports. That's it for me. Back to the desk.
Let's end this week off with TikTok time.
Let's rock. Today I'm falling in love. This feeling's tearing me up. Now she talks like this, swing to it like that. Now she talks like this, swing, touch her right back. Now she moves like this, swing to it like that. Come on, shake, 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 shake.
So that's all the news we have for this week.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and email us with any school updates.
And as always, stay classy, Indian Hill.
You know, sometimes it comes to just me testing out how stupid I am, and sometimes it just comes to what challenges I do. So, welcome to this week's episode of The Danger Zone. Yeah, that's what it's temporarily called. If you have a better name, you can email us with a different name. Maybe we'll have a contest so you can come up with a better name. But as you know, we recently did the hot sauce roulette game with Spice Trivia. And I have that same thing in front of me now, although this time there's going to be a little twist. Because I don't have another person with me doing it, I've got these crackers. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 flavors together. So this could probably end up with me throwing up. So I have my glass of relief here. Alright, so we got 4. Let's take that one off. 4 and 8. So already this is going to be a very interesting combo. Alright. Oh god. Oh, it tastes so bad. Alright, it's building. Ow. 8 and 6. Alright. Oh god, it tastes so bad. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm starting to get a little heat. Whew! Okay. I don't know. Join me next week for Sour Patch Kids and citric acid. That's gonna be fun. Okay. Yeah, you guys have a good day. I'm done here.